30 years have flown by since China adopted reform and opening up policies in 1978. Starting today, our new Biz China 360 series takes you through enormous changes over the decades. In this first instalment, we take a brief look at how this historic decision set China on the road to becoming the country as we know it today.
If the Beijing Olympic Games and the Shenzhou 7 manned space flight have surprised and fascinated the world, then it is the decision 30 years ago that made all these possible. In December 1978, the third plenum of the 11th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China was held in Beijing. Looking back, it can be considered a turning point in Chinese history, opening up a new era that the outside world has since referred to as reform and opening up.
The decision to implement economic reform, opening up policies was a very important decision in the 1970s for China. Since then, we embarked on a road of economic reform and opening up, and we have graduated in the transition from the traditional centrally planned economy to the market economy, and our economy have from a closed one to an opening one.
While Chinese people were pushing ahead to change their lives, the outside world was also looking on and wondering what this ancient Eastern nation could achieve.
Even among my own friends and colleagues, the reaction was very mixed. My personal reaction was curious and surprised and, again, I think excited. I think simply the idea that things were starting to change, even if we didn't know what the outcome would be, made this an extremely unusual situation. I think even then I had the feeling it might be the once-in-a-lifetime type of a story for a journalist.
It was never going to be an easy task. It required great boldness and determination to stay the course. The world's most populous nation began its march out of a closed and planned economy towards a socialist market economy, which aimed to expand rural income, encourage experiments in enterprise autonomy, and draw in more overseas investments. To ensure the experiment would prove a success, China started a series of pilot programs in selected cities and villages, such as setting up economic zones and household contract responsibility experiments in rural areas.
The 30-year changes, more to 石头过河, basically cross the river wall, walking on the rocks. And this approach made China transform from, as I said, a nation of scarcity to a nation of surplus, from a nation which had a tremendous poverty to, removing so many people from poverty. And this shift presented the world with an alternative to the Washington Consensus.
Reform and opening up brought a fundamental change to the China of the time. It freed up people's minds, unleashed productivity, injected great vigor and vitality into the nation, and greatly stimulated economic and social development. As a result, China's economy has maintained a nearly 9.8% annual growth rate for the past 3 decades. Back in 1978, China's GDP accounted for only 1% of the world's total. By 2007, it had hit more than 5%. China's share in global trade also jumped from less than 1% to roughly 8% during this period. And the development got a further lift when China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001, 23 years after it adopted the reform and opening up policy.
When China joined the WTO, China have significantly integrated into the global economies, and our contributions to the world economic growth have surpassed the United States as the number 1 over the past 3 years. So we can see that China's economic development have provided an important driving forces for the world economy.
Reform and opening up has also brought real benefits to the people, whose livelihoods have undergone great changes. From suffering the lack of basic living necessities to enjoying moderate prosperity.
各个城市的建设，包括北京的建设，都是，哎呀，我看都比外国还要好了，非常现代化。
公交车是吧？立交桥，是吧？这个变化相当大。
大家日子过得更好了呗，很简单啊。我感觉还好，比较满意现在的生活。
粮票、布票，就那个工业券是吧？这些东西，后来国民经济这个力量雄厚之后，逐渐的就取消了这个票证。
现在是要吃什么都有什么，比皇帝生活都好啊。
Great changes have swept across this world's most populous country during the past 3 decades. Increasing wealth and more open-mindedness, changes can be found in every corner and in all walks of life. But there's one thing that remains unchanged, that is China's determination to carry on its reform and opening up and ensure a better life for its people. This is Feng Ling reporting for BizChina 360.